Hi, I'm so excited to introduce you guys to one of my incredibly good friends, Mary Carol Fitzgerald. Mary Carol, how are you today?
I'm awesome. Thanks, Kate.
Yeah. So you guys might be wondering the two of us are doing here together. And today I really want to talk to you guys about the importance of photography and branding, and hence my bringing on my incredibly good friend and very talented photographer, Mary Carol.
Thank you, Kate, so much for the intro and for having me today. And I'm a lifestyle branding photographer, and I wanted to share with you some mistakes that I'm hearing a lot of people make. And so I
Mm.
created a top 3 mistakes that most entrepreneurs make and how to avoid them when getting your branded photos taken. and
Yes.
and also looking like yourself, in the meantime and feeling cared about.
I think that's really important because sometimes like you see photos and people don't even look like you know them in person and you're like, what is going on in your photo? Like you don't even look like you. So I think this is really relevant because what you're really talking about is capturing the inner essence of a person and allowing that to shine through and shine and like draw people to them, attract their ideal clients. So this is really, really relevant if you're an entrepreneur or if you're working to build a business because your photos do appeal to people. They do draw them in. So I'd love to know a little bit about like maybe we'll start with mistake number one rather than mistake number three, but let's like break it down and go through it.
Sure. And they all kind of build upon each other, and this is really about life. Like you're who you are and your authentic self shines through, as Kate, as you were saying, like shines through these images, and it's the energy and the essence that is this fluid wave of attraction or detraction, distraction. um,
Distraction.
yeah. Like
Whatever it is. The total standstill, not going anywhere. You're stuck in the mud.
you're
Yes.
you're either attracting or repelling in a sense.
Yes.
So
Oh, let's not repel people.
no,
Let's not repel.
and
I
so
do love and I want you to have what you want.
and so this is the mistake number one also goes along with love. I mean, it goes along with a lot of things in your life and things that you are attracting is setting intentions. And so often I see people not setting intentions and leaving everything up to their photographer to create what they want. And even if they don't know what they want, then they leave everything up to their photographer. you know,
Mm,
there's really a lack of communication there on both ends. If the photographer is not asking questions or evoking questions from their client, and if the client is not going in having an idea of what they want or asking like, okay, what are we going to create, how are we going to do it,
right.
how does this process work? So often, I think just that's one of the huge mistakes I see people is just kind of going with it and not having any idea. So setting intentions is super important, just like anything in life, having a clear vision, and it's about the process from before, during the photo shoot, and then after to the post production and the final product of what you're actually going to be putting out there for you to be making your impact, attracting ideal clients, and sharing that authentic energy of you and what you are all about.
I think that's actually super important because what I realized as you were talking is like the two of us are actually friends. So for you to like put together a photo shoot for me is actually really pretty easy. You like actually know me. But a lot of times when we're going to work with a photographer, we may not actually already have an established relationship. So we do need clarity around what we want to experience. What is it that we want you to capture? It's not like a mission to figure it out. It's a conversation around this is what I want to represent. This is my brand. This is what's important to me. These are my clients. These are my people, and like let's set up a photo, like a session that's going to like really help you capture that energy.
Right, exactly. And to take it even a step further, Kate, like you and I, yes, we know each other, but I might not know exactly, we're always ever evolving and ever changing. And like, there's always new ideas coming up, like
Mm,
what we're creating. And maybe we're working on a certain type of a project, that we really want or to express something. Or maybe you had a different photo shoot in the past and you're like, oh, I don't know, I've got way too many serious ones. Now I need more funny, you know,
yeah.
laughter type ones, or different locations. Maybe other ones were like all studio shots, and now you want something more outdoorsy, like where you're super active, and like being like in tune with nature and stuff like that. So it's like all of those things really get to be fine tuned. And if you don't know what your vision is and what you want to be creating, then you get to have a conversation with your photographer about exactly what you want to come out of this? Like, what is the final, like, what do you see in the end as your big vision of what the final product is, and how do you want your audience to feel when they're looking at the images? How do you want them to perceive you? And then also, just to go into it even on a deeper level, is that you get to create. Like, we are the creators of our lives, and you get to create what you want during this photo shoot. So it's like, if you're a love coach, do you want to create love? Do you want to create, your own retreats somewhere where you can have a gathering of a community in a far off destination?
I'm in. Let's go. Where to? I have 500 ideas and a giant list.
Then we get to narrow them down.
Yes. Narrow down ideas. I hear you. Okay, good.
So, for example, I had 2 clients that were partners, in a coaching business, and they were literally, I was photographing them sitting at a cafe table at a coffee shop, and they both had their notebooks out and journaling, and they were dreaming right there on the spot, working together as I'm photographing them, working together, collaborating, laughing, cheersing, stuff like that, and then journaling and mapping out their retreat to Bali. And it was like, they were like, oh my gosh, this is so happening. Like,
oh, that's so cool. It was like in the moment.
It was in the moment that they were really feeling it. And, one of the first steps to manifesting, or the key to manifesting, is believing it, feeling it, seeing it. It's like those key factors. And that's part of, like, writing it down, actually feeling it, like it's actually going to be happening, and then believing it, and then watching it come to fruition.
I love manifesting. It's just so fun. Yeah. Okay. This is so super cool. I'm so glad you could share that example, because it really helps, like, transport. I suddenly just went to a cafe in Paris. I don't know why, but that is literally where I went. I was like, that sounds lovely. It's just funny. Okay. So you're really talking about, we've got to have a clear intention. And without that intention, your photographer really is not going to be able to capture what you're wanting. And so what's the second mistake that you find entrepreneurs often make?
So the second mistake I find entrepreneurs making is that they can't invest with a photographer right now. They keep putting things off. They're unknown as an influencer now, and they will continue to be unknown if they keep putting things off, if they haven't established themselves. I'll do it later. I'll do it after the new year. I'll do it after the holidays. I'll do it after I lose 10 pounds. And then next thing you know, 6 months go by, a year goes by, 5 years goes by. and then there's no updated photos,
Right.
So what do photos create?
Yeah. Connection.
Yeah.
Relationships,
and so it's in having that fresh content with, that you're continually updating. And now, granted, like, believe me, I'm guilty of this. Like, I haven't gotten, yearly photos done every single year, but I actually just got fresh photos done. I had some, a couple times throughout the last couple of years, but again, I wasn't happy with them. I'm living proof of, like, what I'm teaching right here. These are also mistakes that I have made myself. And so I know how it can be, and I know how frustrating it can be when you invest money into something, or you have a friend shoot it, or and then you're not happy with the photos. There's a lot of time and energy that goes into it, getting your hair done, makeup, like, planning, and and it doesn't have to be planned super. Some of the best photos I've had taken have just been like, okay, rolling out of bed, hopping on a boat, and, like, getting some last minute things put together. That doesn't always happen, but that was just when I was, like, I set a quick intention. This is just going to be fun, and I'm going to have fun with this. And I did. And there wasn't, like, all the, there doesn't have to be a lot of rules around it. It can totally be fun. And it also gets to happen, and so by putting things into motion is really, like, which is what leads me into the third mistake. Do you have anything to comment on that one?
Just the thought of, like, a reminder that it's really important to keep things updated. Because, like, what I just flashed to was thinking, like, okay, when I first had photos done, I was living in Charleston, and then I moved across here and I had photos done. And it's like, yeah, it makes sense to, like, and to capture different angles of your life. That It's not necessarily going to be like, oh, we're always in a studio. It might be like, we're outside, we're capturing some other aspect, or like sometimes your business evolves and changes. And so like, I'm just thinking right now, like maybe you started at one point in your business and now you're finding yourself in a different point. Wouldn't it be important at that point to have some updated photos?
Right, right. And that's a great point, because that's the thing. Like I just recently it'll be a year next week, but moved to San Diego, you know, so I'm in a new location, but I recently changed my hair color.
Yep.
You know, it's, you know, there's new things happening. I'm creating new projects, and I needed fresh content. I wanted fresh content. And when I got sick of looking at my photos, my old photos were great, but at the same time, that's another thing I hear people say is like, my photos are great, I'm just sick of looking at them. You know, so if you're sick of looking at them, how exciting is it going to be for your audience, you know, to see fresh content from you? You know, it's all about that engagement creation as well.
Yeah, I think that's such a great point. Okay, so what's mistake number 3?
Okay, so mistake number 3 is staying stagnant with your old content that doesn't look like you anymore or represent your current brand. And so that's also like part of like putting it off. You can't invest it, and then what's the rate of return, and what's the cost of inaction of you not moving forward and creating new content and the fresh imagery that your audience deserves and that you so deserve? Because it's also like, when you see the new images of you, yourself, your brand, you know, even if you've got like some sort of a product, you know, like I know, you know, I photograph people with apparel lines and juice companies, and, you know, so it's like the fresh product that is out there that you get to showcase is also part of all of it. And if it's just you, it's just you. What about like your journals and your crystals? And I don't know, that's the stuff I'm into. But like, if you know, your favorite mug.
Your chakra journal. Oh, I do. I currently am featuring today, Dream Big.
Dream Big. Awesome.
Yeah. Grateful. Oh, I love it. Yay. Cheers.
So anyway, yeah, that's the third mistake, is staying stagnant. And who wants to stay stagnant when you can be like a flowing river of life moving, you know, and really creating that engagement. Again, I'm thinking like, I mean, I know engagement keeps coming up, but it's really, I think that's on the top of my mind because it creates so much activity with your audience. You know, it's new energy that is bubbling up and flowing through you and flowing through them. That creates excitement. Did we freeze? Can you hear me? Kate. Hello.
Oops.
It's still recording.
Yeah, I don't know. Sorry. You're going to have to edit. I'm so sorry. You were talking about new energy. I was going to comment.
Oh, okay.
It was 222 though. So I looked at my phone to be like,
you don't edit this.
Edit.
Recording. So I was talking about new energy. It's the new energy that continues to flow through, you know, that you're creating, that gets everything excited, you know. It's just like, it's active, it's moving, it's flowing. You know?
Yeah, I love that. That makes so much sense. Because like if we even go into like talking about manifestation and how we like come from that, it really is about finding the joy, finding the fun, and like having a good time. And like when you do have fresh content, fresh photos, and you are looking at that, you do feel lit up and inspired and like ready to go out there and like make something different or make something new. And you're like, almost are like, I can't wait to put a photo on this new course that I'm offering, or I can't wait to send this email out with a new photo or post this on social media. Like it just becomes even more exciting to share, and like new ideas can flow through you.
Right. And even, you know, you're a love coach. And so, you know, if people are putting these photos on their profile pages for their dating sites and things like that. I mean.
Oh yeah. Always have updated photos. Nobody wants to go out with anybody with a photo from like circa 2015. It's 5 years later, guys. Super, super important though, because like, and like you want photos. It's funny that you say that, because even on a dating profile, you want photos that are from different places, that show aspects of your personality. You don't always want like cropped out blurry photos. The hand. What about that hand that's like floating in there? We don't want that. Like you want something that's like, oh, you're somebody who does this and who does that and who's active and happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, and photos that actually look like you, you know, it doesn't need to be all done up and like this professional suit attire, you know, if it gets to be you, your
Yeah.
authentic self and your environment, you know, and that's
Yeah.
what the lifestyle branding is all about. It's the lifestyle portion of it is what I consider your life and your style,
Yeah.
and who you are really authentically. And you know, I'm just thinking of a client friend of mine who had, you know, similar case in point. Her photos were 5 years old, and she didn't look anything like. I'm like, who? She showed me her website. I'm like, is that you? You know? I'm like, okay, hon, time for some new photos.
Wow. Yeah, it sounds that way.
And you know, and then another thing too, like just even for my own personal ones that I recently got done were I'm like all, you know, other photographers in the past just had me like smiling straight, like they wanted to do their creative thing, and I knew that I wanted photos smiling like and laughing,
Mhm.
because smiling straight in like this sultry way, I'm like, what am I going to use that for? You can use it
Right.
for your portfolio, but I can't use that for mine. Like that's not me, you know. And so a lot of them I wasn't able to use, and for some reason, like, you know, I was shy or quiet back in the day, and so I didn't speak up and like, you know, make sure that it was happening on the spot. But that's also one of those other, you know, things that I wasn't clear about from the get-go, or maybe I was and I just didn't speak up like loud enough and make sure that that was, you know, the point that got made. So anyway, these most recent photos that I have, I'm laughing, I'm smiling. You were on my shoot.
Yeah, it was great. I loved it. It was so fun.
So much fun, you know, and like that's what it gets to be like. It gets to be fun, it gets to be enjoyable, and like taking the stress away from it. Like it's not, it doesn't need to be stressful. Having a photo shoot be stressful is a choice. And my photo shoots that my clients work with me on they're fun, they're enjoyable, they're creative, you know, and it's all the energy involved during these types of shoots that is, again, like that goes into the final product. So you want it to be fun, you want it to be joyful.
Yeah. And that reminds me because like I was actually on your shoot just as support and just as friendship and just like to bring the energy of like laughter. And that I remember is something that when you and I originally talked, you were like, and you can have somebody, like you can bring someone along, is like just as like people to keep your energy up, people to make you smile, people to make you feel how you feel in your real life so that
Right.
that is captured.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I highly encourage people to bring friends on their shoots. You know, it's like there's, you know, I'll have my assistant, you know, here and there depending on what, you know, what type of shoot it is, but it's a lot more fun when there's other people involved. You know, it really does help mix up the energy. And
Yeah.
I can certainly manage on my own, but it's always a lot of fun with more people.
I mean, that just makes me think of life in general. It's all about relationships, and it's so much more fun when you've got people in your life and people that you're excited to see with. And why not, when you're going to get your photos updated, redone, why not have some people around you that love you and care about you? Like, oh, so fun.
Yeah,
So fun.
and it even goes down to the choosing of like the outfits and stuff. It's like, you know,
Hmm.
people bring a variety of outfits, and then it's like mixing and matching. What do you think? You like these shoes better, or this necklace, or these earrings?
I know. I could just see you and Nikki being like, this bracelet with that. Yeah. Yeah, totally. It was so good. Yeah, but it's really important. It really is like essentially what we're really getting at is what I'm really hearing is creating an experience. Like getting your photos done isn't like show up all rigid, do some smiles, and then like be done. It's really about creating an experience so that you actually capture the person.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I love that.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
And yeah, which is super important. So I know you actually have an opportunity for any entrepreneur that's listening and is like super interested, or even honestly, I'm going to go ahead and say this, guys. Anybody that's like interested and maybe wants to learn a little bit more, because like I also recommend having updated pictures if you're dating. Like it's super important. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Kate. So I am offering a free vision into your brand call with me, regardless if you work with me or not. I actually work all over the country and also internationally. I've got, you know, I'm located out of San Diego now, but I've got networks in Chicago and Southwest Florida and Turks and Caicos Islands. So if you're in any of those places, I often make stops in those areas throughout the year. But also I travel too. But in any regard, no matter who you're working with, if you already are, you know, have something planned or whatever, you know, feel free to call me. I'm happy to get on a call with you for a vision into your brand strategy call, and we can discuss what you're looking for. And I can ask you. I've got a, you specific way to go about evoking your vision if you're unsure. So you can contact me on my website, which is marycarolfitzgerald.com. And also Kate will put the links in the post as well.
Yeah, definitely. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did. I think it's really important to start thinking really clearly about what is your brand. Do you have the photos that you need to really capture who you are? And if not, well, here's a beautiful opportunity to reach out to Mary Carol, connect with her. I definitely love her work. She's incredible. So much love to everyone who was able to join us. Bye, y'all.
Bye. Thanks so much.